Hello, Yang Gang, and welcome back to the channel. They want to just talk about the appearance of our president, Andrew Yang, on the Stephen Colbert show. So, we have been talking a little bit about how important it was going to be for Andrew Yang to start to get in front of the American audience and getting on big shows like Stephen Colbert show, the Bill Maher show, these type political comedy fuel shows that are in fronts of millions upon millions of Americans. It's very important, and so I thought the appearance was great for Andrew, and I thought that he did a great job. Now, watching. I'm not a big watcher of Stephen Colbert. I watch it ever so often, but I have watched enough of him to understand that he delivers these weird comedy punchlines at certain parts of the when he has his guests appearing. But I've noticed that with some candidates, uh, he lets them make serious points and he takes them serious. And the kind of problem I had with this was that it just seemed like everything Andrew Yang said was a joke to Stephen Colbert, um, and I would have liked to see him at certain points just, be serious about how serious automation is, right? To people, and do people going to be losing jobs? And I've watched him with other candidates. I've watched them discuss global warming, and there are points in the interview where Stephen Colbert stops with the silly jokes long enough to allow for some serious conversation to be held there. Similar thing like with Bill Maher. Bill Maher has all his joke segments, but there are certain parts of the interview that jokes need to be left out, and you can make the jokes at the end. But I don't know. Maybe it just appeared that way to me. It just seemed like it was joke after joke after joke. Everything Andrew Yang said was a joke to Stephen Colbert, and I didn't like that much. But now the great thing about it was that Andrew Yang made a great opportunity out of being on the Stephen Colbert show, and what he did was he created the opportunity for to basically experiment with universal basic income, to a new group of people. And he did it on the Stephen Colbert show, which was going to give all those millions of views to that, give people a chance to try this out. And his following on social media has blown up, or went up a great deal more after the appearance. So by that way, doing those things, I thought it was great. And of course, textbook Mr. Andrew Yang knowing how to take advantage of a great opportunity, and being ready for Thursday night. So this is definitely a good situation. People are getting to know Andrew Yang more. And again, I just wish that, because what we have to understand here is universal basic income is probably not, people aren't like a lot of American people aren't familiar with the concept of universal basic income, right? That's something that might sound like it came out of science fiction book to a lot of American people, right? And so when it's talked about and dealt with in a joking light, I think it becomes so far removed from the mind of American people in a comical setting like this, that they just might kind of brush it off and go, well, we don't think he can win this. That people, they're not going to allow for people to receive $1,000 per month, because wasn't a whole lot of time, and there wasn't a way to really drive it home to Americans just how serious it is, because American people are busy, they're moving around, they're trying to live from paycheck to paycheck. But the great news about it being in front of millions of people, there are a lot of people who did pick up on it, and Thursday night they're going to be paying attention to Andrew Yang. Whether they be paying attention to him in a joking way or just paying attention to him to see what he's going to say, I think when given the opportunity Thursday night at those debates, uh, even if they took it as a joke, once they hear Andrew Yang go up against the other candidates and see how much sense they make, because again, it only takes a few minutes for it to start making sense. But what Stephen Colbert was doing at the end of everything, he was creating these jokes and making the whole platform look like a joke. But it's not going to be like that Thursday night. And when that happens, that's when a lot of these people are going to say, "Oh, now I understand. I see clearly what is going on." So, working out good for us, Yang Gang. Andrew Yang again, as always, uh, making a great opportunity out of the situation given to him. So I want to just speak a little bit briefly about um, Biden, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg. Uh, you know, the chances of Andrew Yang's, the path that's before him, is ever getting so, he's getting so much close to that presidency because, I think candidates like Joe Biden who've been leading and some of these lead people like Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, a lot of them have walked into a lot of traps and a lot of things have, come up that's really hurt their campaign. For instance, you take someone like Pete Buttigieg, who recently, as the mayor of the South Bend, Indiana location, there was, problems with a black African American person being gunned down by a white police officer. That's never a good thing, especially heading right into the debates, right? His presidency, him having to get off the campaign trail. And during this town hall meeting they had, having to deal with basically the idea that this community has been on the city of South Bend for a long time now about not enough representation of black police officers in that police department, and seeming to be this great concern about the racial issues and racism. And the problem with that, Pete Buttigieg, I'm sure he has a great career ahead of him in politics, but the problem with that is when you take that information that you're the mayor of this city and you're running it, if you can't run your city well, then I think it's going to probably look to the American people like, how in the world are you going to be able to run a country? So I think that's going to put Pete Buttigieg in a bad situation. He said he was responsible for the incident, and I think that's going to hurt his campaign to a great degree. So a lot of these candidates that are going up against Andrew Yang, many of them I see aren't going to make it. Joe Biden is, again, having issues with dealing with segregationists and, known racists in Congress, using terms that are degrading and derogatory, like boys, and things like that. And he's been attacked by that from people like Senator Cory Booker and even Al Sharpton, saying that he didn't recognize, saying to Joe Biden himself, he doesn't recognize this Joe Biden. So this is this is not good for Joe Biden, going back in his history of the crime bill that he was a part of, the side, as everything's adding up, the women allegations, all of these things are starting to pile up on Joe Biden. And interesting enough, they tried to release this poll that talked about it didn't really affect or hurt Joe Biden. But, to be quite honest, I really don't think at this point in time a lot of the African American vote that Democrats rely and depend a great deal on is going to be able to really be there for Joe Biden. I don't think a lot of African Americans are going to vote for Joe Biden. Now, Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders was careful. He was very careful with the conversation about reparations. And, as I've had conversations with people, a lot of people are scared to jump into reparations, open up that conversation, because they don't really know how to approach it, and they don't know what the ramifications of it might be to their campaigns. But the other dangerous part is when it seems like they're avoiding the issue. and that can lose votes specifically from African Americans again. So, in a similar situation on the reverse side to Joe Biden, I think Bernie Sanders may have hurt himself a great deal with the African American vote, and because this particular campaign has been made a great deal, introducing reparations to many of these candidates and how they're going to deal with it whilst on the campaign trail, has become a big part of this election. So we had that going on with Bernie Sanders. Now Elizabeth Warren seems to have avoided all that pretty well. And with Elizabeth Warren, she has been for a variety of ideas about reparations, even though I don't see if she's made any specific plans, but she's done enough to make it to where that can't hurt her like it's hurt the other candidates. But Elizabeth Warren has had a lot of other interesting weird things happen with her ancestry and a variety of things, and things that she's admitted that she put out there that was false information and wrong, and it was just so weird. That she would put out certain things and certain ideas that make people think that she's not very trustworthy with certain information, with certain things. Of course, the taunting by Donald Trump calling her Pocahontas and a variety of things that will come up, I'm sure, during the campaign. And those things, whereas I don't think her situation has been quite as severe as the others, I just don't know if Elizabeth Warren's policies are going to be quite strong enough to deliver her into the candidacy or becoming, the president when going up against Trump. Right. Kamala Harris, her history as a prosecutor is a problem for her. And Cory Booker seems to be, there are some concerns about Cory Booker, specifically on certain policies he's had, and, with the African American community on reparations as well, interesting enough. And so it's causing, a lot of difficulty in that area with him. But saying all this to say that this makes it the road going forward for Andrew Yang ever so more possible, clearer, and dealing with the rest of the Democratic candidates. It may not be as difficult as many of us perhaps believed in the past. But great job, looking good there, Yang Gang. Real quick, real fast, I have a website that is targeting the globe in our own universal basic income project, where we use a cryptocurrency that is real value, that is real money. This isn't monopoly money that you can get for free simply by joining the website and participating and earn through a cryptocurrency similar to what you get with Bitcoin and a variety of things. You receive these cryptocurrencies every month free of charge. You don't have to do anything but visit the website. That is it. And you got actual money that you can use. And we teach you how through our video series and the content we produce, how to use this, how to get access to it for free. There's no money necessary involved to participate. So we invite you all to join the website. Do it today. Do it right now. You'll be glad you did. But that's all I want to say in this video. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, take care.